Weekends at 2, it's Philger and Naz.
Makes me feel good.
On 98.5, the Sports Hub.
It's the Blue Man Group?
Without the visual delights, I would find it hard to believe. It is 98.5, the Sports Hub. We are Toucher and Rich, 70 degrees at 9:03. Louis C.K., very famous comedian, writer, director, editor, everything for the show Louis. Favorite of many people. He will be appearing August 4th, tomorrow at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in Hampton, New Hampshire. He will then be appearing on Friday at the South Shore Music Circus in Cohasset. And then the following day, Newport Yachting Center in Newport, Rhode Island. And ending all of it up at the Cape Cod Melody Tent in Hyannis on August 7th. That is a big round of New England shows. He is from the area. Mr. Louis C.K., thank you so much for joining us, sir.
Thank you for having me.
You probably don't remember, but you've done the show before. And,
Sure.
And one of the last times that you were on, you made the statement, you go, I don't know why when I'm on with you, I'm so hateful towards you.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, you're just full of hate. And you said it like you stepped outside yourself for a second and said, whoa, Louis
Well,
C.K.
you got to be able to do that.
Yeah, you almost realize just how brutal and cruel you are.
Yeah.
It didn't change your behavior, I guess, but...
No, but also it might have been you guys. I think you guys take people to a place outside of themselves.
Yeah, well, it depends what kind of mood. It gets very metaphysical at times in here. We can take you on a trip. Don't worry about it.
Metaphysical. Okay.
That's right. Now, the show Louis, you write, direct, you control everything with that thing, right?
Well, I don't control anything. I'm in charge of a lot, but it's too hard to control it. If you think you can control it, you'll really kill yourself.
But you even down to like editing the show, you have final say with everything. It is truly your voice being heard.
Yes, I write it, I direct it, and I edit it. That's right, yeah.
And you have an interesting thing with recurring characters on that show, meaning that they're not necessarily going to be recurring, that people just kind of pop in and out of the show.
Yeah, I tend to get rid of people if I'm sick of them or suddenly invent them even though they didn't exist before if I feel like it. To me, that's the funnest way to do it. So.
And why waste time writing them out of the show?
Yeah, what is the point of that? I mean, nobody wants to watch that. When TV shows do that, it makes them feel good like they did their job, but the audience has to sit through that crap. It's boring.
Well, and it's a little egotistical, too, because you feel that people are so involved.
Nobody cares. They're watching a cat chase a fish on YouTube while they're watching your show. Nobody's paying that close attention.
People are multitasking.
That's right.
And now, on your show, it's basically loosely based, however loosely, but it's based on your actual life, your actual existence.
Well, it's me, it's my stupid face and it's my voice, and I have the same trappings as a lot of my life, but none of the things that happen in the show have really happened.
Oh, okay, but you have 2 daughters in real life, and you're divorced from your wife in real life, and dealing with all that stuff.
Yes.
She's
not my wife anymore. That's why we got divorced. You don't stay divorced to your wife. It's just you're divorced.
Okay, so
not my wife.
The woman you were formerly married to is no longer living with you.
That's right.
This is, I guess, the way I could put it.
Are you married?
Yes.
You have some fear of divorce. You're afraid your wife's going to say something if you say that the wrong way, I think.
Now that I have kids, I am afraid of divorce.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. I hear other people when they're, their wives remarry, and then there's another guy, disciplining the children and things. That would trouble me a great deal.
Mm.
And not so much even my wife. My wife, I could give or take, but now that there's children involved, now that raises the stakes.
No, you'd be surprised. You don't think you have any. Fathers kind of are made. You're made to feel useless, usually by the mom. So what happens is you feel like if there's a divorce, I'm not going to be part of this family anymore. I'm not going to be a dad anymore. But it's not true. If you try, you can do it. I'm not trying to talk you into getting divorced. I don't know what's going on in your house, but
but you got strange men tainting that fatherhood.
No, but Louis, you do take a very hands-on approach with your children. I mean, it's evident on the show and from your comedy.
Yeah, my kids are with me half of the week, and to me it was important that I raise them, not visit with them. So they're very much, they're my responsibility.
And you pull a lot of your material from, and that's why, you're so relatable to people, is that, you're very honest about your relationship with your children and the foibles and the good things that can come from that. And how old are your kids right now?
My kids are 6 and 9. 6
and 9, and me and Rich we have kids that are both. We both have kids, 2 kids, 3 and 1, both of the children, and 6 and 9. Is that a big difference in terms of?
Well, yeah. I mean, 1 is you're just keeping it from keeping it clean and not dead. That's pretty much all you're doing with a 1-year-old,
right?
And 3-year-old is just a pure id want machine. It's just a thing that it's discovered that there's things beyond existence and survival,
Yeah.
And it knows what things taste good, and it knows how to demand. So that's a tough time. But you're not far. 4-year-olds are human beings.
Okay, because I'm waiting for that, because I tend to joke around with my son, and I'm being dead serious. I tend to joke around with my son, and I think that I've made myself kind of a punchline.
Yeah.
In that, he knows, if he's I don't like the daddy, or stuff like that, he will get a reaction, and
right.
So it's come to a point, though, that sometimes it hurts my feelings.
Well, yeah, you started that, man.
Huh?
You started it.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't intentional. I thought I was being,
kids. Well, you can talk to your kids any way you want. If you talk, I've always talked to my kids like they're people. I've had long conversations with them when they were babies. If you just if you really, the kids that keep you company, they're great friends if you talk to them like you talk to your friends.
But a 3-year-old doesn't, it's very hard to have a conversation with a 3-year-old.
Well, you can do it if you got to spend time alone with your kids.
I do. I spend a lot of time. I'm home all day, and my wife goes out, and I spend time alone with them. And believe me, he does the thing, let's talk.
Yeah, it's me and my son on the television.
Yeah, no, I talk to him. I do. I would love to have a conversation with him. But
Does he watch TV?
He watches an hour to an hour and a half a day.
That's not bad.
No.
He'll develop into something. He'll be a person soon. Don't worry.
All right.
Yeah, 4 is a big year.
Okay.
4, they kind of calm down. They actually start looking at you like, hey, dude, I don't know what that was up with me back then.
All right, so there is a sense of that they're apologetic for what they put you through before.
Yeah.
Now, are you pro-lying to your kid, when it's an awkward question? Because, we've talked about that before, parents who complain about what am I going to say to my kids about that billboard for the strip club, when they ask me what it is. Are you 100% honest and just tell them and let them deal with it, or do you make up some lie?
You can come up with things to say to kids that, when they're ready to. I don't think lying is a good idea, because then you're living a constant cycle of lying and then breaking the lie, telling them that you lied later, Do you
think they'll remember?
I mean, if kids find stuff out, they find stuff out in some kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Johnny at school told me that someday I'm going to die. You don't tell them, well, it's never going to happen.
Right. Yeah.
It's never going to happen. Rest assured. You're going to live forever.
Right.
Well, but what about all the people that have died? It's all but except you.
Right.
You're Jesus. You're Jesus.
Well,
and then,
yeah.
And then then later they go, what if, how come you said if I smoke cigarettes, they'll kill me if I'm not going to? Oh, well, I was lying. You're definitely going to die.
Right. Well, isn't there a certain purity to be unaware of one's intimate or inevitable demise?
Yeah, but it's not a real. I mean, you don't have to go tell your kid today. I'm just saying.
Just to make it very clear.
How about change the subject?
Yeah,
perhaps step on something like you don't have to worry about that right now. And kids will actually listen if you say that.
Okay.
You don't have to. It's not something you have to worry about right now. Well, your friends shouldn't talk about that. It's not a kind of thing you talk about with a kid your age. I mean, I actually tell kids that.
Right.
I'm not going to. We're not going to discuss this now because it's not appropriate for your age. You're going to someday know everything.
Right.
And I'll tell you when you need to know it. Don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that.
How much do you censor?
The billboard, what is a 3-year-old's, what is the need-to-know basis?
Right.
the 3-year-old boy, I better tell him about strip clubs so he doesn't get ripped off when he goes next week.
Right.
You don't have to really.
Yeah, you have a little time to explain the do's and don'ts.
That's a place where grown-ups go and they do stuff that grown-ups do, and it's really depressing.
Right.
And no one leaves happy.
The chicken wings are overpriced, and the premise of the relationship between the two people is the saddest thing in the world.
And the older you get, the sadder it gets, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because there's not even a possibility that they would be interested in you, at least when you're in your early 20s, you're the same age.
I think you can tell them a realistic version of things, the way things really feel. I mean, I think a lot of times we sanitize stuff for kids in a way that's not helpful to them, like telling them that, not to have premarital sex because it's wrong and evil and they'll get a disease. And you can really just tell them that they'll feel like crap afterwards. You're going to feel bad and you're going to be embarrassed that you're naked in front of a stranger. You should get to know somebody first before you uncover your genitalia, because otherwise you're going to feel dumb.
Now, at what age are you going to have that talk with your kids?
You have, right?
At 9?
No, because they don't ask those questions yet. I mean, they've asked me how babies are made and what goes on. I have said something about sex to my 6 and 9-year-old.
Yeah.
I told them basically what happens, and very simply. But I said to them, the only thing I said to them that was sort of in a grown-up context is, you never do this thing unless you really want to. If anybody tells you that you have to or you should do it, they're wrong. They're absolutely wrong. The only reason this should ever happen is because it's something that you really want.
Well, there you go, Louis C.K.
That's the only thing I've imprinted on them at this age without telling them.
Listen, it's good advice, my friend. Good advice. And you can see Louis C.K. live August 4th, Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom in Hampton, New Hampshire. The 5th, South Shore Music Circus in Cohasset. August 6th, Newport Yachting Center in Newport, Rhode Island. August 7th, Cape Cod Melody Tent in Hyannis. You can get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. Sir, enjoy your time back home in the New England area, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks. I didn't hate you this time. This
you didn't even have to step outside yourself.
No, this is all right. You guys are growing up. The kids are doing a good thing for you guys.
Yeah, they're melling us out. They're making us really boring, is what they're doing.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Louis C.K., thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. There you go, Louis C.K.